I'm Tom Sniegoski, writer of all kinds of stuff: Vengeance of Vampirella, Young Hellboy, Bone with Jeff Smith, the Herculoids for Dynamite Comics with Craig Rousseau, and I'm on Splash Pages.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. You are watching Splash Pages. My name's Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have an amazing show scheduled for you as always. And with us, we'll kick it on over to Carrie. How's it going?
Going great. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Radhusker and I having some drinks tonight. We're excited about our guest. He has written some great stuff, including recently the Herculoids, but he's also written what I am all into, a lot of horror. So, of course, I'm super excited about this. And we're going to ask about the Tiki a little later. But yeah, so let's go over and see Drew and get an introduction to our wonderful guest tonight.
Is it Drew or is it the devil?
Hey, Drew. Hey, everybody.
Look,
I
his
just
hair
decided...
matches up again. Like, scoot over about half an inch. No, other way.
Oh, okay. I'm just... Is that better?
Yes, now you have Vampirella's hair.
Oh, hi. Oh, my God. Hi. That's so nice. It lines up so well with my ridiculously big headband. I mean, what? Hi, everybody. Welcome. We just get distracted with shenanigans. That's how it syncs up. So thank you so much for joining us, everybody. It was Tuesday, and instead of filing your taxes, you decided to spend time with us. So thank you for that. But we are not to be charged for that if any penalties do incur. So yes. So Carrie brought up, we have a fantastic guest. Leo mentioned it kind of, but he does his thing. We have a wonderful guest who's been working in the industry a long time. He's a novelist. He's a comic writer, and now I have something new to aspire to. He's, as described, a pop culture journalist. Again, I was like, wow, new career goals for me. He's done a bunch of stuff related to the Buffyverse, as it's called. He's done stuff on Vampirella, Punisher, Batman. He stuff with Bone. He's done a ton of stuff with the great Christopher Golden, meaning things involving Hellboy, BPRD kind of things. He's worked in the comics fields for Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, Acclaim, Harris Crusade, Caliber, Sorry Baby, London Night, and a bunch of others. So he's done a lot. We have him here. He's a total hoot. We're going to have a great time. I'm probably going to say the name wrong, but I'm going to give it a try. Everybody, the one, the only Mr. Tom Sniegoski.
It was close.
Damn! Oh, God, it was so close.
It's Sniegoski, but...
It's Sniegoski. Okay. Damn
it. One day, Drew, you'll...
so close.
Yeah, it was fine. I'm so used to it, I just laugh. It doesn't...
Well, no, but Tom, I get it. And because the same thing happens with my last name. You would be surprised. It's literally like 4 or 5 letters, and some people still can't get it right. Or they add letters on. I'm like, I can't, like, literally, it's something that, or I'll say my name, and then they hear something completely different. I can't tell you how many times I say my name clearly. Oh, hi, Bruce. I'm like, how? Why should I care? You clearly don't care about me.
And the last name looks scary. When you see it, it scares people.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, but it's funny because people do the same thing for me. Like, I've gotten a couple of scams that were addressed to Drew Milowski, and I'm like, why? Like, I can't take this seriously. This didn't even. Why? Why would it have a Y or an I on it? It doesn't make any sense.
Drew, you get less mistakes if you just let everybody know your middle name's Marsh.
Okay, Leo. This might be a record because we're so far in, and I'm going to tell you this nicely. Get the hell out. I'm going to say this nicely. Thank you, Carrie. So let 2 Drews say that to you. Get out. That's 2 of us. So, Tom, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
No, absolutely. And also, I just want to say, to start off, you were recommended to us by one of our frequent collaborators, the always great a Mr. Carrie, what's his name?
Steve Van Samson. I don't have to say it the weird way.
No, but you're contractually obligated now, being the president of his fan club, to say his name like that. So, we get it.
No, then it's Steve Van Samson.
Right. Okay. The flourish. But So he recommended, you come on, and we're
Yeah.
very thankful for that. How did you meet Steve? Because like I only met him through this, but I was like, man, I got to do more in my life. This guy's doing everything. Kind of similar to reading your bio. I was like, I need to do like the literary equivalent of 100 push-ups a day, and then I can get where these guys are. Because damn. So
I think I was familiar with him, but I didn't meet him until the Halloween Book Festival last year in Haverhill.
Okay.
And he was next to a friend of mine, and we were chatting, going back and forth. And I don't think he knew who I was, and he was listening to the conversation going back with the other guy, and he was like, "Wait a minute, you're Tom Sniegoski?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh my god, I've been wanting to meet you." So it was like one of those things where we met, and it was wonderful.
Oh yeah.
And now we have you here.
He's really good. He's really talented.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
I consider him the king of monsters. He makes the best monsters that I've read. As far as like that's one of his talents, is he can turn anything into a monster, and he does so good at getting unique little bits and pieces, like twists and things on his monsters. You think you know what's happening, and then it's like, oh, but wait.
I don't.
And speaking of monsters, I need to pivot for a minute.
Yeah.
God damn you, man. Because I read Batman Real World, and that just broke me. Because I'm a huge Elseworlds fan. So I'm reading this and I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm reading it, and I was like, oh fuck. God damn. Like I'm just reading this story. And I knew, my brain was like, I feel like I know where this is going. And even then I was like, oh son of a bitch. Like you and your frequent collaborator Christopher Golden, man, you guys just, I was like, wow, like a story that was very Batman, but still was like also a love letter to the fans. And I knew, I'm like, oh fuck me, this is heartbreaking, but just like I was like, the second I started, I was like, no, you have to finish it. You can't just, oh, I want to come back to live. No, you got to finish it now. Just
I wish there was. Did they ever reprint that anywhere?
I'm not sure.
I knew they were doing collections of the Elseworlds stuff, but I'm not quite sure if that wound up in a Batman Elseworlds yet.
I don't think so.
When you started talking about it, I was like, "What book is he talking about?" I'm like, "Oh yes, Elseworlds, yeah." That's from a long time ago.
Yeah, man, because I was just reading that. Like, yeah, that was like, oh my gosh, that was like early 2000s, I think.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just reading that, like Charlie Duffy, all the thing, and it was funny because I'm reading it and like, he's counting down. I'm like, what the hell is he counting down? And it's the new Batman, and I'm like, wow, holy shit, it's 1989. I'm like, wow. and I was just, it was just such a beautiful love letter. Like how, like when you're like, do they approach you with the idea, or is that something you come up and approach them? Like, how did that all come together? Real World.
I think it was one of those things where we wanted to do a Batman Elseworlds story, and they had a concept, because at the same time they did like Real World Justice League, and there were a couple other ones that were more like rooted in reality,
right?
And I think that might have been a suggestion to me and Chris to do a Batman-esque story, but have it set in the real world. And I'm at least I'm pretty sure it was a pretty tough project to work on. There was a lot of friction with our editor on the book, but we persevered. And yeah, I mean, to work with Marshall Rogers, that was another thing that was awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I like, again, I think the thing for me that I laughed at was just like, again, how Charlie just saw everything was in Batman, like he was Batman and whatnot. But then everybody else was in concept, like
Yeah.
the old woman was Catwoman,
Yeah.
the rough character was the Joker, and
Yeah.
Clarissa, his childhood friend, who might even be his first love, was Robin, and it was just it was so true to the character, but still like you could see somebody creating that association. It was fantastic. So I just wanted to say to you that
Yeah,
was just,
I mean, it's one of those. It's really kind of fun when somebody brings up something from a long time ago because it's like, oh, it's still around. It's still relevant.
oh
But,
yeah,
yeah, that's
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think there's a Elseworlds omnibus coming out this year.
Yeah, there were a couple. There were like I know there were two Superman. There was Elseworlds Superman. There were two collections of that. I think there was at least one Batman, but I don't think this story was in it.
Yeah, we'll have to keep a lookout.
Yeah,
'cause we
absolutely.
do another show that's just Elseworlds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Elseworlds, and it's Comics Paradox. It's Elseworlds and alternate realities.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll have to bring this up with the group. See if
Absolutely.
Steve read it.
Yeah, definitely.
Doing all their
Oh,
real world together would be a good one, if they.
right? Yeah. But it was just, I just need to say that was just absolutely fantastic. So, kudos to you
Thank you.
and Christopher Golden, who I'm just as like you, I'm a huge fan of because of all the collaborations he's done with Mike Mignola. And I actually got to meet him. I think it was Boston Comic-Con in like 2018.
Oh, I'm probably next to him.
Yeah. So because I'm like, and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wait a second. Like, like when you think about it and you're like, you're going through the memory, and I was like, did I gloss over it? I'm like, I'm sorry, if I fucked up, but yeah, I mean, you and Chris have worked on so many.
I know.
Yeah.
We're really good friends. I'm his daughter's godfather, so that shows you where I am in the.
Yeah.
In the
So
in the,
like, how did that, like when you, because again, there are other people who are frequent collaborators, kind of become synonymous.
yeah.
How does that start? Do you find a project and you just realize like, is this going to be an ongoing thing? Like, I like your work, and all
right, I'll tell you that he'll tell you this exact same story.
All
I
right,
was doing a ton of work for Harris Comics when they had the Vampirella and Warren publishing what the licenses, or they owned them. At least they thought that they owned them. There was all kinds of stuff that came out after that. But anyway, so I was doing almost every single book that Harris was putting out. It was all spinning out of Vampirella. And Chris had been writing books at the time, and I didn't know him yet, but he'd introduced himself to my editor. And my editor said, "Hey, this is Chris Golden. He'd like to do some work for us." And I shook my fist at him like, hell you will. I mean, I'm writing everything in this. So, I mean, he had like a possible creator-owned book that he was going to do for Harris, and we kind of struck up like conversations and stuff. And when our editor, she was leaving Harris, and we didn't like where the company was going without her. So I basically wanted to kind of dismantle everything that I created in the Vampirella universe.
Okay.
And it was really sad. I was like, it was devastating to think that I had to do that after building so much of it up. So I asked him to do it with me.
Oh, okay.
And we did Vampirella Death and Destruction, which was basically totally dismantling my Vampirella universe that I've since brought back over at Dynamite.
Hey, listen, if it's your thing, it's your right to do so. Right?
That's how Nick Barucci got me to come back to Vampirella for her 50th anniversary. He was like, "What if we let you pick up where you left off 25 years ago?" And I was like, "Oh, that is too good to pass up."
I think it's always funny when creators do that. I think Peter David basically did that for Spider-Man 2099, when he came back briefly. He was like, I'm just literally picking up where I left off. Like, I know other things have happened. That's cool. I'm doing my thing. And I'm like, respect. Do your thing, Nolan.
Yeah.
Do your thing, sir. And then I will also say, just, another thing is the Herculoids. Like, you and the great Craig Rousseau, who I also met years ago, and I believe also is familiar with Hellboy, because he also worked on Young Hellboy.
Yeah, he did Young Hellboy with me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are just killing it with the Herculoids. And, me and Leo were talking about this when the Herculoids books were announced. I mean, I remember watching Hanna-Barbera, thanks to Boomerang on the Cartoon Network, and, Herculoids, Space Ghost, all those I got to really enjoy. And I mean, just what a weird cartoon. But it's just so undeniably perfect.
Yep.
And then you guys are just doing such a good job evoking the same feel that class. Like I'm reading it and I'm hearing like the Hanna-Barbera sound effects, like when I think it's Turok is just shooting his little explosive.
Tundro is shooting.
Sorry, Tundro. Sorry,
that's all right.
Yeah. But I can hear the sounds, like, just like, I'm just like, wow.
Oh, don't forget Gloop and Gleep.
Yeah, just so. I mean, how was that you pitched it to them, or was Dynamite was like, hey, do you want to do this? You want to?
No, this is a pretty good story too. I've known Nick Barucci, the president of Dynamite, for like 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw that he was getting the Hanna-Barbera licenses, meaning Space Ghost,
right,
I contacted him and I said, if you get the Herculoids and you don't give it to me, I will so bullshit at you that you will not be able to stand me for the rest of your existence. I will be haunting you because you did not give me that book. And he got the license and he reached out. He says, if you want it, it's yours. So
I think Alan Moore did the same thing for Whatever Happened to the Man After Tomorrow. He found about the book was ending and he went to the editor, grabbed him by the throat and said, if you let anybody else write this, I'll kill you. And the guy's like, yeah, no, Alan, do your thing. And that happened. So I was like, it's good method, nice, effective. Nothing like threats from a creator.
Well, what's bizarre about the Herculoids is that it's haunted me like my entire career. I mean, it's been one of those things that I can remember even when I was first starting out and I hadn't done a damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Any opportunity I got to talk to an editor, I was like, do you know who has the Herculoids license? And they'd look at me like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I would love to write those characters.
What's
that? That's all right.
Oh, no, this is my first foray into the Herculoids because where I grew up and the years when I was growing up, I didn't catch on the first runs through, and then I never caught any of the what do you call them when they play it again?
Like
reruns or whatever, and like series. Just because they never played them in my area. It wasn't something that I grew up with, so it wasn't something I was very interested in. So your Herculoids is the first Herculoids I have ever experienced.
Wow.
And so and I quite enjoyed it. So
I was gonna say, did you like it? Because there's a huge nostalgia factor with these characters too. But at the same time, I can't let that be the only thing that propels the comic is the nostalgia factor. So I had to really kind of put my thinking cap on and say, all right, how do I take this, keeping the nostalgia, but taking it to the next level?
Right.
Because this for a lot of younger readers is going to be their first experience with their
Herculoids. I hope so.
As it was for me. So. I'm just from an age range that you would think would know it, so I don't have the nostalgia, but it is a very good introduction. I'm quite excited. I'm going to go back and start looking at some of the old shows when I have time. This is cool.
Oh, absolutely. No, it again, like I said, like I remember when I think it was Jeff Parker when they were doing Future Quest and
Yes.
Hercules were all
Yes.
part of that. I was
Yep.
like, wow, all my favorite cartoons from when I was a kid.
Yep.
But then when the second the Herculoids showed up, I was like, yes. So,
Yeah.
you know, like seeing yours, like, especially, and again, it was just like popping open an old cartoon and just Xandor, Tara, Dorno,
Yep.
Zoc, Tundro, Egu,
Yep.
Gloop and Bleep, like all of them. I was like, and then like again, because the nostalgia factor, I'm like, let's go. Where are the faceless people? Where are the destroyer ants? The mutoids? Let's go. But I'm like, no, he has to pace himself. He
I have to
cannot
pace
just
myself, and I have to kind of like, I don't want it to become like, every issue is a throwback to a
right.
cartoon. I want to do that, but I want to do it naturally. I want it to feel like it's part of the story.
So you and your collaborator Craig
Yes.
Rousseau,
Yes.
was he just as excited about doing the Herculoids as you? Was like, let's go.
Well,
Like,
what's funny about it?
you guys have like
Yeah,
watch parties?
what's funny about it is I didn't realize he was as big a fan as he was.
Mm-hmm.
So when they asked me who got any ideas of people you want to draw the book, and I was racking my brain, and I'm like, well, I mean, Craig would be perfect for it, but I don't know if Craig likes the Herculoids. So I threw his name out there, and I guess when Joe Rybant, the editor, reached out and said, "Would you be interested?" I guess he went wild. He was like, "Of course I'm interested." So yeah, I was excited that he was as excited as I was about doing this.
Oh, absolutely. So I have to ask, do you have a favorite?
Yes.
Okay.
Egu, the rock ape.
Oh, nice.
Egu, the rock ape.
Nice.
I just have to say, I love what you're doing with Herculoids. I would watch, before school in the 80s, and we didn't have cable. So you'll get a kick out of this. Our TV, even though we're in Connecticut, we would catch, I think it was channel 56 WGBH in Boston.
Yeah. That was Boston. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I remember watching this before school, and absolutely loved it. And I tried not to miss it. And what you're doing with the story is fantastic. How many issues are you planning to run with this, or is it just
right now? They told me to plot out 12.
Okay.
They told me to plot out a year, so I've kind of plotted it for an arc that goes for a year, but definitely could go beyond that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Well, here, seriously, hope for
I do
12
too.
times 4 or 5.
Yeah. I would love to keep going.
Now, did you go back and rewatch any of the episodes before writing all?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had to get the feel. I mean, I knew the feel, but I wanted to kind of refresh the feel. Craig, I guess, has a TV in his studio, and he runs them as he's drawing the comics. So yeah, that's really cool.
Again, it was funny because I remember talking to a friend of mine who, similar to me, would watch those old cartoons, and I was like, what is Hanna-Barbera's love of bongos? Like, just it just like I remember, especially I was like, especially with Speed Racer, I was like, what is it like? I was like, all right, we got to go. You just got to play the bongo. Like this is the perfect transition music. I was like, or what was it? When you're running in air, you had the I'm just like I was like, wow, I never really thought about that. And then later, like rewatching, I was like, props. Like it's a simple, unique way of doing. It's just the same way that they did, the sound effects. Like when Zoc's, beam would, I could hear that in my head.
Yep.
I was like, nope, nobody else. Or when Gloop or Gleep would do their
little weird dialogue, yeah,
exactly. I'm like, I'm just like, the hell? Like, and it was one of those where I was like, this was for children? This makes no sense. It's like the whole thing. But like again, it's when you're talking about it, like me and Leo would talk about it, I was like, were we under some mass collective fever dream? Like, what is this?
this stuff,
I'm gonna have to watch
but
this
this stuff
now.
just permanently implanted itself on my brain. I mean,
right?
the designs of these characters never left. They were always somewhere floating around in my brain. They were designed by Alex Toth. So, I mean, fantastic comic artist and designer and all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, these guys were just amazing. The simplicity of them, but at the same time, they're not simple at all. It's weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird.
And also kudos to both of you, because you guys got, among the great covers you got for the issue one, you had a us, and then Carrie, you know this because I brought it up when you got a stellar Mike Mignola issue one cover. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. I was like,
I know. I was talking to him on the phone and I said, guess what I'm doing? He says, what? I'm like, the Herculoids. And he's like, I guess I'm gonna have to do a cover for that. Yes.
And with Drew brought this up when we were actually showing off all the different covers one time. He's got the little poot with the thing coming out of his.
He didn't think they were gonna let him keep that. And I'm like, oh no, the poot stays.
It was the littlest detail, because it's that Mike Mignola, like, small guy. But I was like, look at that, he poots, like,
that's
it's this little detail, but it's in that, like, Mike speech, and I'm like, I can't, like, that's just
perfect,
classic him.
Yeah, he thought for sure it was gone. I'm like, no, they're gonna keep it.
Oh yeah,
totally. I love what Jeff Eckelberry's been doing with your lettering, because everybody has kind of their own sort of letter set going through. And it's really nifty. It's easy to follow, and it really adds to the thing I can feel I know exactly who's doing what thing as a newcomer to it. It's and it's gorgeous. I'm a big fan of letterers, so I'm just like,
big fan.
Good job. Way to go,
Jeff. It makes a huge good lettering it makes a great, I mean, that's great lettering, can like really stand out, make really enhances.
You aren't supposed to notice it, but if you are a fan of it, you look for it, and it's just like, it's so smooth, it flows, you see exactly where things are going, it's not in the way, but I love this book. I wasn't expecting to be quite honest, because I was like, oh, this is something silly for children. No, this is actually quite good. It's got a really and it's very pertinent to today, with the resource story kind of thing going, like, we're just gonna take all your stuff, and oh no, you're not. And Kylie is really liking all of this, and also is getting He-Man vibes. So
way before He-Man.
Way
before.
Would be
this is
1960.
1967 was the Herculoids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So your story definitely goes, deeper into the mythos, obviously, than what the cartoon had. How did you come up with the background story with the Herculoids?
It was one of those things where I just kind of what I got from the viewing of all the old shows, I just kind of like took stuff and enhanced it. Like, we really don't know a hell of a lot about the Herculoids themselves. Where do they come from? I mean, they just kind of, they don't necessarily seem like they're native to any place. They seem to be kind of like stuck together. So, and it's a giant planet. You watch the show, the planet's enormous. There's all kinds of races, different species and races and stuff like that. So what I wanted to do was kind of like introduce an idea about the planet Amzot, for one thing, like being almost like Eden, and like sought after paradise. Everybody wants a piece of it. But then I wanted to go another step further and create not necessarily a villain, but something that is older. That basically it's something that's kind of like responsible for a lot of the creation of things. So it's an ancient evil, not evil. per se, but it's an ancient evil that is going to fill in a lot of the blanks as to who the Herculoids are and why they're there and stuff like that.
Awesome. When does issue 3 come out?
3, I believe, I'm not sure if the 3's done. It's a done issue, but I think they changed the release date because they had some foul because of the diamond situation.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Issue 1 caused some stuff to get thrown off. So 1 and 2 came out really close together. And I think they may be trying to put 3 back on the regular schedule. So I think it might be like the end of this month. I'm not 100% sure.
That's been happening to a number of different books. They're just like, it's supposed to be, but then it's been bumped a couple of weeks or a month.
Yeah, that diamond stuff's not doing anybody any favors.
Yeah.
But it is done. I've seen the whole book. I've reread the whole book. It is done. And 4 is
Carly,
done.
you can go to your LCS. Yoko Comic Book Shop should have this in the stacks, and if not, go to where is the place to order it directly from?
Actually, if they go to their LCS, if they don't have it, they can probably just order a order issue for them. That's what my LCS does. It's definitely support your local comic shop.
Yes, for sure.
Of course.
They're gonna need it a lot coming
They
up.
need it, yeah.
So another thing to bring up, just in terms of your career, Tom, is that you worked on the prequel to Bone.
Yeah.
You had, it was I believe it was it Stupid Rat Tails, right?
It was Stupid Rat Tails when it first came out through Cartoon Books, and then Scholastic got the rights and colored it and made it Tall Tales, Bone Tall Tales.
Okay.
So there's a black and white version that's Stupid Rat Tails, and then there's Tall Tales. And actually, Tall Tales has a few more things added to it. And then we just recently did more Tall Tales. It came out about 2 years ago. We won the Ringo for best humor comic.
Absolutely. No, it was amazing. And then you, again, it was drawn by Jeff, but you were the writer, and you also did, I believe, a backup in it. Was it Riblet, right?
I did. That actually was in issues of Bone, the original Bone comic. The Riblet story was in the original, and I did that with Stan Sakai.
Yeah,
that was
Usagi Yojimbo himself. So I mean, what was that like? I mean, you're working on a prequel to Bone, which is just a powerhouse book. I mean, tons of awards. Just such a beautiful looking book, but with such darkness.
Yeah, that was a scary, just because of the pedigree Bone has. When they asked me to write the prequel, I was terrified. I was like, "Are you seriously? You're asking me to write this?"
Right.
So I was pretty nervous going into that, but they were great. Jeff is awesome. His wife Vijaya is awesome. They were super encouraging. Very little editing. I mean,
oh yeah. I mean, I just remember reading some of it. I think for the first time, some of it had been produced because when I was a kid, I was reading like the Disney Adventures.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Some of those stories and I was just like, this is not Disney.
Now,
especially like with the rat creatures and things. I feel like we've taken a turn somewhere. And as a kid, I'm like, why is this terrifying? But I can't stop reading. Like, I'm used to reading like Bonkers and Goof Troop, and then reading Bone. And I'm just like, I feel like I've taken a peek at something very dark, but yet I can't look away, and yet I am changed.
When people ask me about Bone that aren't familiar with Bone, they're like, well, what is it? Why? It's kind of cute. It kind of looks cute. And I'm like, Bone is Lord of the Rings meets Warner Brothers cartoons.
Nice.
It's
That's a
like
great way to
you
describe it.
combine those two things together and you get something as unique as Bone.
Absolutely. No,
That
that's
makes
a
me want to go. Yeah.
Have you
That
ever
can
have
be
you ever
fun.
have you ever read it? Have you ever
I
read
have
Bone?
not.
Oh,
I
you
have
really
not, but I'm going to because
I'll tell you a story. I had met
yes.
Jeff and had gone to lunch with Jeff and loved Jeff, and I hadn't read a word of Bone.
oh
And I was
wow.
ashamed of myself. I was kind of like, you know what? Here I am
Oh,
palling
yeah.
around with this guy. He's fantastic. I love him. I think I should be familiar with his work. And I
Mm,
went to the comic shop and I bought like the first two little collections. And I'm like, all right, let me see what this is all about. And was just totally captivated, like
mm,
3 pages in. And yeah, that's all that took.
yeah. No,
All right.
yeah, Carrie,
I'll be reading it now.
yeah, oh, yeah, it's definitely something you can read. No, I had to bring that up. That was just so
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh yeah,
I,
definitely. That was at the high point of my career.
oh, yeah,
Uh,
I read The Hobbit when I was 8, Lord of the Rings when I was like 9, 10. So
Yeah.
that's
When
wired in
you
my brain to.
when one of the other things it's very very funny. It's very very funny, but it's also really really dark. It starts off this like kind of light and cheery and it's goofy and you're laughing and the characters are amazing, and then it heads down a path and you're like, it's not going there, is it? But it does, with these characters that you absolutely adore now are going into these really dark
I,
places.
it's
I
funny
like the
because
dark places.
oh no, Carrie, you will. Like it's just the rat creatures are just
They're
drawn in such a way.
fantastic.
They're terrifying, but you'll love especially because it's about the Bone cousins. So there's three of them. So you've got Phone Bone, who's the everyman. You've got Phony Bone,
Who's
who is
He's
the
like the
wealthy
con man.
man.
He's like the con man.
Yeah, and then you have Smiley Bone, who's
I don't
just
know.
he's
The
just a
goof.
nice guy, but
Yeah,
he's
he's the goof.
yeah, he's the goof. But the thing I always remember about Bone is that there was a scene. I think they were in a tavern, and I think he was trying to pay for his food, and the innkeeper didn't know what it was. It was like money. He was like, "All right, you got to pay your tab." It's like, and he's like locking heads with him like a ram, and his brother's like, "Yeah, they do barter system, cuz like that's they don't know what money is."
Didn't he have money from Boneville?
Yeah,
Wasn't there money from
yeah.
Boneville? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just like again, these things I haven't thought about for years, and then we're just talking about it. It's like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
this right, buried deep in the canals of my mind. But it was just so funny because it was just this big bearded angry man locking heads with Phony Bone. It's just they're fighting, and the brother's like, nope, oh, I missed a spot over there. We just keep running. I'm like, oh, I can't. I
And
can't.
isn't he washing dishes? Like in the next scene, he's in the
Yeah.
back washing dishes.
Mhm. Just in the back. I was like, I can't. This is so good. So Carrie
My mom always
definitely.
said that would happen if we didn't have enough money. He had to
Yeah.
wash
My
dishes.
father used to
You
do the
know.
same thing. Oh, I don't have any money. We're gonna have to wash dishes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Terrified
And
with
I was
7 years.
like, I'm hungry. I can totally wash dishes. And it didn't work.
But so I had to bring that up, man. That
Yeah.
was
Oh, definitely.
so
Definitely.
good. Carrie, you said you wanted to talk a little bit about is because you yourself are a novelist and he is a master novelist working on another one. So
Well,
discuss.
first though, we need to go into the horror because Drew, I have not been
Yes.
able to get into the horror yet.
No, that's fine. No,
And
whoa, hold on.
Horror's fine. Almost all my stuff is tinged with it. So yeah.
Yeah, go,
yes,
Carrie.
okay. So, uh, first I want to jump in to the Sisterhood, which,
Oh,
oh my God,
Yeah,
that was beautifully
that's
done.
that's another old one
And
that I almost forgot
and
about. Yeah.
yeah, and the artwork was gorgeous with that. It just everything flowed so well.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
just a wonder to read. And I want to know, are we gonna get, I mean, it's been
It's
17 years,
it's been a long time.
but I wouldn't mind reading more of this because the concept behind all of this, I love. We were talking before the show, and I was like, "How much research did you do?" And you told me that you were raised Catholic, and I'm like, okay, I understand. Because but there's so much like deep lore involved in this, and
Yeah.
how there's for those of you who I'm not gonna give the whole thing away, but there are like these nuns who the way they exorcise demons,
And
kind of.
Chris and I thought that we just had a blast coming up with that idea, that concept.
It's great. They suck them in and use their power of faith to hold them in their own bodies, and then if they pass away naturally, the demons die with them. And that's what this whole thing is based around, basically, is and there's different people from there's the heretics and the Vatican and all this stuff that's going through different secret organizations, and you made up most of them, correct? Like they're
yeah. There may be some truth here and there, but most of it's made up.
Yeah.
It's just one of the most beautiful things I've read in a while. This is what I thrive on. It's religions and mythologies and things like that, and horror. You stick them together and I'm in heaven. Well,
We've been trying to get somebody to put out a collection of this, because it's only been in comic book, in the individual issues. It's never been collected.
Oh wow.
So,
yeah, they
should. So we've been trying to get some interest in somebody putting together doing a collection. So and probably if we did a collection, we'd probably do something new for it too. So
Oh, nice.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course.
That would be great. Because this is like the artwork just killed it with this. The story was so great, and guys, you're gonna have so much fun if you like demonic possession and stuff. If you love these kind of there's a lot of mystery going on as well as the horror aspect of stuff. Like, who is doing this? How are they getting there? There's action film vibes if you want some of that going in.
Yeah.
This
Oh
just
yeah.
makes
For sure.
everything turn together for you. It's
For sure.
it's well assembled.
Well, not only that, like this here would be an awesome adaptation too for like a movie or a show or something.
We have had so much interest in this. It's like something we have interest. There's lots of talk, and then it dies. And then a couple of years go by, and then there's interest again, and there's lots of talk. It's just like this weird cycle that, like, matter of fact, just the other day I was talking with Chris Golden on the phone, and he said, "Oh, by the way, Pete, who's our manager agent, he showed the Sisterhood to somebody. So here we go again." So let's see.
Yeah,
the book that just doesn't die.
Well, you also notice that in media, like the angels and demons, type of stories, they just come and go.
Yeah.
Like right now, the Bondsman is going on right now, which is friggin' phenomenal. It's a bondsman going after demons. But yeah, I can see this totally adapted for either a show or a movie. This would be awesome.
Especially after the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons were released with Tom Hanks, it's just bringing that like genre to the forefront.
Yeah,
really. And it just this is.
So I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, I haven't seen this in ages.
We do that to people. We like to bring stuff on and be like, so, do you even remember doing this?
Yeah. Oh, I remember.
People are like,
it's a good looking book.
Oh no, it's a beautiful book.
I mean, it really is a good looking book.
Absolutely. So Carrie, if I can, just one question, I just want to ask him: how do you how do you balance like writing comics with then your literature? Like I remember reading like the great Peter David had like his week planned, and like certain days he would work on comics and certain days he would work on his novels. Do you kind of follow similar?
Yeah, I'm similar. I don't think I do it daily, but I think I do it like, all right, this week I have to write this script. So I'm going to write that script, and if I finish it on Friday, Saturday and Sunday I'll work on the novel.
Okay.
And see how much I can get done for that. And so it's like a balancing act in terms of like, what do you have to do? Is an artist waiting for it?
Right.
How much time do I have on the book still? That type of stuff. So
Oh.
yeah, it's like a tightrope.
Oh, trust me. I can already tell you, Carrie is sold. She's gonna be buying some of your stuff. So you're ever at a con and she's there, she will show up and just, can you sign these? Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, hi, I'm Carrie. How you doing?
Almost all my books have this.
Here's one of my books. Have it. See what you think.
Almost all my novels have this as part of their DNA. It's in almost all of them. So
yeah, because I can. Yeah.
You mentioned cons. Just real quick, just want to let everybody know that. So this weekend you're going to be at Boston Wicked Comic Con.
Yes.
Wicked Comic-Con. You and Janine Atchison.
Janine Atchison, my co-writer on a lot of Vampirella stuff and some of my book stuff. Yeah, she's up and coming. She's amazing.
Nice. And then Free Comic Book Day, you're going to be in Rochester, New Hampshire at Jetpack Comics. Also, you and Janine as well. So yeah. And I'm assuming you'll be doing autographs there as well.
Oh yeah. As long as I wrote it, I'll sign it.
I had somebody sign something they weren't in the other day when I was at the last con I was at, because I was just like, did you happen to contribute this? He's like, no, but I'll sign it for you. I'm like, okay. It was like the whole con, like, had put artwork in. I didn't have time to flip through and see who's in it. And he's like, where should I sign it? I'm like, well, how about on the page where everybody's listed, because then you can have your name in it, with the like list of the people who added. So draw me a smiley face or something that then you're in it,
There you go.
And Kylie here says that this definitely needs to be a movie. They'll call me a goth. She owes them a favor. So got somebody working there. Speaking of Janine, Soul Taker.
Oh wow. Yeah. Did you like that too?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it
played into your all. Yeah.
It played. That's right in my wheelhouse of stuff. We're gonna have Dan Chichester on next week, and he does the same thing where it's cool. Like,
he's great.
You have the religion, the mythology, and then like the horror, and just like dragging into hell. So with this, there was also is this the end, or is there going to be more? Because it's so ready to be more.
I know. See, here we go with the curse of monthly comics. A lot of the times the numbers are just not there to get your second arc. So we're currently trying to come up with a battle plan on how we could wrap up the story in the best way possible. So whether it's another like a one-shot comic, whether it's like a full graphic novel, we're even willing to go prose with illustrations. So we're talking about a lot of stuff, and as soon as we start to get like definitive answers, we'll be knocking those things back and deciding how we're going to do it.
Well, Tom, I just need to say this: if you guys decide to go the Kickstarter route, let Carrie know, because not only will she promote the mother-loving heck out of it, but Carrie, I'm sorry, I'm going to speak for you, even though you're in the room right now. She will 100% contribute to that. Because am I wrong, Carrie?
Oh, I'll buy whatever, as long as I don't have to get totally kicked out on the streets. I will buy whatever package you put out that's like, and this, and then for add-ons, you can buy each of my novels. Yes, and
yes.
I'll help you design it. I mean, I honestly, I spend that much time studying crowdfunding and talking with people and putting things together that I will just help you, and then I will pay for all of it too. Great.
The best kind of fan,
Does Mad Cave work with? Do they do the novel kind of stuff too? Can you have?
No, I would have to. We would probably, if we did anything like that, we would take it probably to another, like a smaller book publisher, maybe even Bad Hand, who's doing our Janine and I's novella, Nira, which comes out in a month or so.
Nice.
Yeah, so let's cover that right now. So the novella.
About the novella? Okay.
Just tell us all about it. We need to know.
Well, it was one of those things where I was contacted by an amazing artist named Tom Brown. He's a British artist, or actually, I think that he started here, and he moved to England. He contacted me because I'd worked on a project with him for Random House called The Raven's Child, which was a graphic novel. And he reached out to me and he said, "Hey, look, I'm doing art for this new small publisher, Bad Hand Books. How would you like to come up with an idea for a novella, and I can do the illustrations for it?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that could be interesting." Because I love Tom, I love Tom's stuff, and I'm like, let me think about it. And Janine and I had been working on stuff, so I threw it at her, and I'm like, "What do you think? Would you want to work on something like this with me? We'll come up with an idea together, and we'll do that." And she was game. So we'd had a couple of like concepts rattling around that we plucked out and enhanced, and that became our book Nera, with the illustrations by Tom Brown. It's the first of a series, so we're going to be doing more with her. And it's about a mysterious woman named Constance Evermore, who has a strange habit of just showing up where she feels that she might be needed. And she travels in this old Victorian house that just will appear in spots. Just like you walk by and you go, wasn't that a parking lot? Wasn't there an old house there? And her house will appear there and take root for whatever she needs to do in that particular area. You'll learn she's very old, been around for a very long time, and she's basically making amends for a really bad mistake she made a long time ago. And I don't want to go any further than that, but that's
I'm sold.
You know?
Yeah. Literally, Tom, as you're talking, I could literally hear the sound of Carrie's money just growing wings and flying away towards your pocket. Just the fluttering of paper winds, So
Yeah, she's an amazing character that just kind of, Janine and I just kind of, Janine would add something, then I would add something. Janine would add something, and I would add something. And she's just really, we all we can think of is Tilda Swinton when we're writing her.
Nice.
Yeah, she's very androgynous, kind of like just slightly odd, not quite. You have to kind of question: is she human? Is she not human? What's going on here?
Absolutely.
Can you find me an artist that'll just be like, "Hey, I'm gonna draw pictures for you and do illustrations for your book," because I'm out there going like, "Okay, so got this story. I want to get at least 1 or 2 illustrations." Like I'm pitching people who are like, "Oh, I do $1,000 for the page, and you do this." I'm just like, "Sorry, no."
That's the hardest thing. I mean, I totally respect artists, and I know they all deserve to be paid for their work and stuff. But at the same time, if you're a struggling writer as well, you don't have the money to sometimes give somebody to say, "Here's my book. Can you do 10 illustrations for me?"
Yeah,
So
I've learned if you have money, you see something that you like, even if you have no idea what you're going to use it for, you buy it. I
okay,
have a book cover that's been sitting on hold for me that I threw like, it was only like 275 to get all the rights to, and guys, wow.
yeah, that's pretty
That
cool.
was, yeah,
Yeah,
and it got digital audio, regular covers and everything. But he's been sitting on it for me for like 6 years now, I think, because I haven't had time to use it. But then when you go to pitch something, to somebody, and you're like, "I just want, this," it's, and like you said, they
yeah.
need to have the money.
Yeah,
I totally respect the artist. I just,
you can't be mad at them. I mean, they just
no,
you know,
and they get it if you can't afford it.
yeah,
I don't want to
yeah,
be like, "Hey, can I get a friend deal or anything?" No, I totally respect. But it's, a lot of artists don't put their prices, just, because it depends on what they're doing. So you have to approach everybody. That is, I'm so jealous. Well,
I
like, you
find
obviously earned the respect of the artist to be like, hey, you know, I
It
would
is
like to
the
work with you.
I find that conventions are a great place to meet like new guys who are just starting out that may not have done a ton of work or and things like that. Just like little local shows, you'd be amazed at the talents that are out there. That want to work. So maybe it's very possible you could find somebody and play Let's Make a Deal, like if we make any money, I'll split it with you 50-50, that
yeah.
type of thing. So I mean it's tough.
Yeah, that's the fun part with. Sorry, and we're going totally off on gonna go into prose here real quick, but being in like an anthology where instead of getting paid for the story, getting paid royalties.
Yeah.
I've had to report my royalties. I'm on disability. I have epilepsy, and they're like, I at one point I had to report royalties, and then they're like constantly with me. They're like, okay, so what were your royalties this period? I'm like, nothing,
Yeah.
because I was one of like 15 authors in a book that was published 6 years ago that they
Uh-huh.
don't pay you
Yeah.
until you accumulate a certain amount of money that the publisher then feels is worth crediting to your account, because it's not worth
Definitely.
every 10 cents that you get to put it over. Like, well, how do we put that? So I had to sit down and literally explain to, like Social Security and stuff, how royalties work when you aren't Stephen King.
Well, because everybody assumes that's the level 8.
Yeah.
If he's making it, you're making it because you're a writer. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, no, I'm a writer. I don't make money. Well, you do, but I don't, but you know what I mean? But it's like, I don't make money at it. I just, it's a fun little hobby. Someday I hope to make money, but currently I'm going into debt. But that's how it works. So yeah, okay, I'll get off the writing things because I'm going to try to snag this man for over on the Outlight Network, Clutch Personalities, so we can have him and Janine come on perhaps and discuss his latest book.
Talk to you.
So you're in Australia. Oh, okay. You're a little different. I get it, and everything's more expensive for you, and I'm very sorry, because I was talking with. No, it's like to ship something under 500 milligrams. And I know this because I was talking to somebody about it last night, or grams from like that, to Australia. It's a $27 minimum shipping
Wow.
fee. If
Wow.
you order one book, if you order one thing, it costs more. And if it's not printed already in Australia, you're spending $30 just to get
Just
something
doesn't
sent.
ship it. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, well, if you can afford it, then I'll give you some books to look up.
Do not underestimate Carrie on that one.
You know why it costs so much to ship to Australia is because they have to navigate around the sharks over there. It's
There you go. That's it. That's it. I knew there was something.
yeah.
He's upside down.
So Tom, evidently, it's just your love of comics definitely,
Yes.
definitely exudes from you. Is there anything that you're currently reading now, that you have time for, when you're not?
Oh my God. The thing is, I read. I spend and read way too much.
Yeah.
And when I'm called on it, I freeze. Let me see if I can just off the top of my head. But reading the Bat stuff. The Bat stuff's been fun. Tyler, is it Taylor or Tyler's run on Detective Comics? He was writing Nightwing for a while.
Tom Taylor.
Tom Taylor. Yeah.
He's writing Detective. That's been fun.
Nice.
Let's see. Tom King's Wonder Woman, I think, is fantastic. That is fantastic. Something is killing the children from Boom. Tinian. That's fantastic. Oh God. Oh, you know what I'm really liking? The Ghost Machine stuff at Image.
Yes.
Red Coat and Geiger.
I'm wearing my Frankie shirt from Hyde Street.
Yeah, Hyde Street. That stuff is a blast. I'm like loving that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've been recommending all that.
Yeah.
as well. And I just want to also say, in terms of, because we had this creator on earlier, and I will say, if you want giving Batman Dark Patterns,
Oh yeah, I
um,
have it. I haven't read it yet.
oh
It's
my
good.
god, oh,
Good.
it
Love
is
it.
so good. They're on their second arc right now because I think they're doing like 4 3-issue arcs for the
Okay.
12 issues for the maxi series. They're,
Great.
they're so good. We had Dan Waters, the guy who's writing it,
Okay.
on, and oh man, we're just loving that. It's just early Batman,
Cool.
but where he's taking the characters are just, oh, it's so good. So
Yeah.
just, if you like, if you,
Yeah.
I'm a huge Batman fan. I'd love to.
oh
to
yeah,
Yeah,
you're,
it's definitely a horror element to it as well, which is
That's very cool. I like that. Yeah.
oh
and
yeah,
Absolute Batman also is really good. They just
That's
started.
really fun. That's
Yeah.
really. Actually, I'm enjoying all those Absolute. books.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
like, yeah, go
Are
They
ahead.
just
you?
started
Oh yeah.
I was just going to say, did you read the most recent issue with Freeze?
No, I haven't got it yet. No.
Yeah. Oh,
Definitely a unique take on it. It's very cool.
Yeah, I'd heard that there was a new take on the character, so I got really curious.
yeah. I mean, honestly, the whole thing, like those 3 titles, I mean, like the Absolute is just really taking these characters in such great directions. I mean, Superman,
Yep.
Wonder Woman, Batman, and I think they did the Flash with Jeff Lemire, and then
Matt Martian Manhunt.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that was great too. Yeah, so it's just so. And then I think they also just released Green Lantern as well, so they're just
Yeah.
firing all cylinders, and
Yeah.
it's just great. Again, it's just nice to have just comics that are, like you said,
Yeah,
pushing characters.
It's nice. It's nice to be inspired to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I find that you get a little bit worn down every once in a while, and all it takes is one good comic, and I'm back, baby. It's like you're totally re-energized because you can see what the art form can do. I mean,
Absolutely.
I
I think the thing being is just like with comics, you're always reading these ideas and like, that's so good. Like, I think as a fan, you perpetually have that. Why did I think of that? That is just fucking.
I do that. I do
Yeah.
that. Right. I'm like, Jesus Christ, why didn't I think of that first?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, oh, these are so good.
Yeah.
The one we
yeah,
haven't
Carrie.
mentioned from Absolute yet is Superman with Jason Aaron, and
Yes.
he's killing that. And then, okay, again, I am weird in what I watched because of my age range and
Right.
when I had cable and stuff available to me. And like, I know should have been a comic first, but I'm from a small town in Nebraska, so we didn't have an LCS, But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I know that they're heroes in a half shell. I know they like pizza and they say cowabunga. I didn't really watch the show. I didn't really know much about the comic. And I see these people collecting it, and I'm like, well, that's weird. You're adults. And then I learn more about it, and I go, oh, okay, that's cool. But Jason is writing that right now. And my question, I asked him this on when we had him on. I'm just like, who broke you? What did Donatello ever do to you? Why did you do this? And so I've loved it lately. And it's not just him, but there have been a lot of authors and creators that do a lot of horror that are breaking mainstream stuff in and pulling in the darkness.
Oh yeah.
And that is just so wonderful to see from. And poor Leo, we're like, Leo, guess what we're gonna have you read this time? And he's just like, oh God,
It's
really?
just,
Again?
yeah,
Why? We're
we
giving
have
him
to kind of,
PTSD.
we have to just warn him. It was like, I wouldn't eat anything reading this. Just fair
Yeah.
warning.
Well,
It's specific things, but
I have a tad bit of PTSD, so horror is can be a bit touchy on me. So,
Well,
yeah.
again, it all depends on the horror, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. But it's Tom, we kind of gauge it by like when we ask him, like, what do you think of the book? He's like, what the fuck, man? And how quickly he just shakes his head, and he'll just, if one of us recommends it, he'll be like, Drew, what the fuck? Like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, did you not enjoy it? He said yes, but now therapy. I'm like, that's not on me. That you
it
have
totally
problems
hasn't
processing.
turned into a competition between us at all. We aren't
No,
trying to trump
totally
it.
not.
Never. We would
But-
never do that
so
at all.
that's how it's working. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So Tom, I do have to ask one other thing, and then Leo's going to probably ask his concluding question.
I have my
Yeah. So one thing I would bring up is I know you've done a lot of work involving Buffy the Vampire Slayer or the
Yes.
Buffy.
Yep.
And I know that's back in the news because they're doing a reboot of the series. Kind of what I'm not even sure because again, I'm a so-so Buffy fan. But definitely gonna rewatch the show. Now we know that we're getting more, but it's like a reboot, but it's also maybe a sequel. I'm not 100% sure because I only skimmed the article. But does that excite you? You're like, oh well, looks like I'm coming back to Sunnyvale. Like, hey,
I'm curious. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they'll invite me or Chris back to to partake in anything that they do. But yeah, I mean, I'm just curious as to what they're gonna do. I mean, it sounds interesting. It doesn't sound like a total reboot. It sounds like almost like picking up where they left off type thing,
right?
With new characters and stuff like that. So that sounds fun to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Chris and I wrote the video games. There were 2 Buffy video games. Chris and I wrote them.
nice.
Yeah,
that's rad.
How is that?
That was a nightmare. I never I never imagined video game writing would be such a pain in the ass. It was like, Chris, put it this way. We had to come up with literally hundreds of things for vampires to say before they exploded into ash. And, I mean, they didn't want just 5. They wanted like 1,000. I mean, and all the characters had that kind of thing. So it got to a point where it was so freaking monotonous, like just trying to come up with how to say something slightly different than the last thing we just said. Chris was like, I'll pay you some of my money if you would write this. And I'm like, no, you're in it with me.
Did you have to deal with the if then or statements and stuff like that? Like, okay, so the characters, these are all the branches that can happen and
I think we had
do.
it was like a great big piece of paper that
they have to code it, but you have to do it's like a choose your own adventure book, really, only to the extreme.
I mean, they let us kind of come up with a lot of the stuff, and then they kind of took what we said to see how they could incorporate it into a game. I remember they were all bullshit because they didn't want penguins. So we had penguins in a zoo. There was like a zoo scene in one of them, and we had demon penguins, and they were all bullshit. And they're like, "No, we're not going to do penguins." And Chris and I got all mad. I think they ended up doing the penguins.
I want demon penguins.
And just to let you know, the great Steve Van Samson, it just showed up to just let you know that he loved the Buffy games. So,
oh, cool! Oh, look who it is!
Yeah, that guy.
This guy,
the man himself.
Yeah, but that's funny.
I need minions to do.
So, I'm kind of shocked Drew didn't bring this up, and I haven't had a chance to do any research on it, but like literally a couple minutes before the show doing continual research, it looks like you're doing another young Hellboy story. Is that correct?
We did 2.
Okay.
And right now something hasn't been announced that I really can announce. But I think I probably just kind of did by saying that.
Tom.
It's not what you think it is, but there's elements of what you think it is. How about that?
Okay. That's cryptic enough to create curiosity, and that's good enough. Yeah.
Okay, so this might have been another article. Hellboy, the Hidden Link.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Oh,
and then we did Young Hellboy, Assault on Castle Death, which was Lobster Johnson story.
Great.
Yeah,
great story.
Yeah, that was fun. That was really fun to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I think my goal is one day to have written a Hellboy story that nobody done. I was like, if I could just do one story and it is not awful, I'd be like, okay, I'm good. Like,
he is such a fantastic character to write. I die when Mignola asked me the first time to do it. I didn't even, my brain couldn't even comprehend.
I'm such a huge fan, so I mean, I got to meet him like years ago at an art show, and it was the funniest thing because he was at an art show, and I was like, oh my god. So I remember like rushing over into the city, like I took like like a train in, and I took like a taxi, which I normally don't do, and I just got there as quick as I could. I had whatever I could grab, and he's just sitting there, and I was like, "Are you Mike Mignola?" He said, "Sometimes," and I was like, "All right, give me one more minute." He's like, "Yeah, take your time," and I'm just like, "Hi, big fan, as you can tell by the BPRD hoodie. I have some things. Would you mind signing them?" He's like, "Oh yeah, sure. No, what are you?" And I'm just like, "Can I take a photo?" He said, "Oh yeah," and I take a photo, and I'm just like, you know, he was so cool. I mean,
he's a good guy.
and it's funny because we have a tradition where we do live reads at the end of every year, like a holiday themed, and we've been doing Hellboy stories.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we've adapted a lot of the Christmas stories we've done, and it's just, and we also did the Crooked Man,
Oh, wow.
but, in conjunction with the movie that came out, and it is just the most nerve-wrackingly greatest thing because it is just like we're adapting it is one thing, we're bringing the voices, and you can ask Carrie, like I'm always like, I don't think my voice is that good. I don't, and she's like, it's you. You'll be fine. And we do the thing. And I'm like, this is good, but it's no Ron Perlman. Like Mike didn't approve. We didn't get the thumbs up. We didn't get sued, but we didn't get the thumbs up. So I don't know, man. You have to keep doing more until we get the attention. Senpai noticed me.
If you guys
But
haven't seen it yet, they put it up on the Mignolaverse Discord. We finally have released the final edition or the final edited copy of the Hellboy Crooked Man live read, and it got a lot of hits right away. We were really excited about that. So
And
it
the
was like
Hellboy
within
fans
a week it had over 400 hits,
yeah,
which I mean some people
Hellboy
are like,
fans are
in their thousands.
yeah,
But
Hellboy fans are strong. They love the Hellboy. Yeah.
do we?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, but it's just, again, like you and all your collaborators. I mean, with Hollow Earth, Young Hellboy. I mean, just you got to contribute to the great tapestry that is the Hellboy stories. And I mean, that's the best thing about that character. He was in business so long. You can just pull a story from anywhere in his career, and it's just so good. And
Victor Frankenstein.
yeah, and even stuff like the spin-offs and everything, BPRD.
A lot of
Oh,
like that Frankenstein spinoff was
mhm.
Chris and I basically said to Mike, and he was like, "No, the story's done. It's over. It's done. The world ended. It's done." We said, like, "Yeah, but," and he listened to us for like 10 minutes, and then he was like, "Ah, that is good." So yeah, so that's how the Frankenstein stuff came.
And that's awesome. That is so super cool. I'm good. Carrie, Leo, do you have any more questions? I'm good.
Okay,
Uh,
so
go
I need to ask this of all of our horror writers or horror
Yeah.
creators that come
Oh,
across.
no.
I even put it in my note, Drew, like you don't expect it anymore. Okay, so I discovered at one point, about a year or so ago, that a lot of people that write horror comics are also very much into Tiki and like Tiki drinks and Tiki clubs and stuff. So I have become convinced that somewhere out there is a super secret horror book comic creator Tiki club, and that you all gather together in different tiki clubs when you're at conventions, and like you have writings and things, and that if you follow a certain pathway on the right night and open the certain door, you can get yourself in to the entrance of the thin place tiki club, like where you said the house just shows up where it's supposed to be, the tiki club
Yes.
shows up where
Yeah.
it's supposed to be, and everybody has access to it. And so I would like to ask you, if you happen to be a member, if you can tell me anything, if you're willing to allude to things, if you are trying to pipe
I am
writing,
not a member.
but
I am not cool enough to be a member of that. That is something I am not familiar with.
okay, I just like to check
I'll
because
keep my
every
eyes
now and
open
then
now. Now that you've alerted me, I'll be watching for it.
I
uh,
I give out tiki things as offerings so that maybe someday I'll be invited. Be
Someday.
like, oh, here's the tiki, please. Okay, now it's Leo's turn.
Yeah. No, speaking of watching, I just noticed in the back there your Baby Yoda Grogu with the.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's yeah. I had a phase where I was collecting all the Grogus I can, and my wife actually shut me off.
Ah,
There can be no more Grogus that enter the house.
they're all scattered around the house. There's like one down there. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
There you go. All right, Leo, ask the question.
Yeah. So one thing we like to ask everybody is, when you are not doing your craft, is there something that you dork out about? Like, you collect Grogus, you go on hikes, it's what is something that you use to, in your downtime, just to relax? Do you play video games? Yeah. What do you do?
It's so funny. Most of the things that I geek out about are connected to my job, connected to the work. So, like, I love reading, like picking up and reading a bunch of Jack Kirby, Stan Lee Fantastic Fours, or thumb through a Frazetta art book. That's the stuff that gets me excited. That's kind of, it's almost like fuel to keep going with this. But yeah, that's my dog. I walk my dog. He's kind of a cool character. So, yeah, I have a French bulldog.
Oh, nice.
Named Harvey. His name Harvey Dent is his full name.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because he's white. He's white on one side and black on the other side. So he's like, Harvey Dent, he's perfect. The accent.
So cute.
That's amazing.
My brother has a couple of bulldogs. He brought him over this weekend, named Butch and Kiki, and they're just adorable. We have a chocolate lab, and she's our child. It's
oh yeah.
She's
I had a lab. I had a lab before the French. I've had two French bulldogs, and I had a lab before the French bulldogs. You'll notice if you read some of my earliest work, there's labs in almost all of my early stories.
Oh, nice. What do you think of Crypto in the new Superman?
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. I've always wanted to see Crypto in the movies, but I wasn't 100% sure how they would do it.
Yeah.
There's like a line that you have to be really careful with that, not to get stupid. It could get silly really quick, but just watching that clip, they nailed it. I was like, this is how you do this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is how you do it.
It's hard to believe this all CGI too. Like
I know. I had to almost like question that. I was kind of like, wait a minute, is that or isn't that? So
that's not a real dog?
No.
Wow, you just broke Carrie. Like,
she's done.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh, there we go. She's good. There we go.
Gotta treat the squirrel too.
Yeah, but mutual drunkenness. But oh my God, that's right. All right.
Are you on Blue Sky? I'm getting Leo.
Oh yeah, Leo, the Blue Sky. I forgot about that. Yeah,
I'm on Blue Sky.
There you go. See, there you go. There you go. See, Leo, I think you asked all the questions.
Yeah, I think that's it. So before we wrap things up, just want to remind everybody that this weekend you're going to be at Boston Wicked Comic Con. You're Janine, and then Free Comic Book Day is going to be Rochester, New Hampshire at Jetpack Comics.
Yes.
So with Janine as well. We got a friend up in New Hampshire. I'll have to let him know you're going to be there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, definitely. Our minions. They go.
Exactly.
Yes, minions. But
otherwise,
Tom,
they get attacked by drunken squirrels.
Yeah, but Tom, thank you so much for joining us. This was absolutely fantastic. We're really, really glad. We hope that if we're ever out at a con with you, we'll definitely drop by, shoot the shit, usual stuff. Definitely. But in terms of people keep in touch, just what's the best way people can get in touch with you, social media and things?
I am on Facebook, I am on Blue Sky. I am on Threads. I'm still on Twitter. I don't know how much longer I'll be on Twitter, but I'm there. So just look up Sniegoski. You'll find me. There aren't that many of us.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh, but Steve, there's news to come.
News.
But yes, this was great to have you on.
Absolutely. Please keep us in the loop of any, if you do any Kickstarters or anything like that, send us links, let us know. We'll be more than glad to promote and help people give you more money to do what you do.
Wonderful.
I am all about giving out people's money to you. Well, giving my money to you and convincing other people that they need to give their money to you.
To you.
Sir.
For me. Yes.
Absolutely.
I will take it.
There you go. All right, Leah, walk him through again the exit, and then we'll send him on his merry way.
Yeah, totally. So, Tom, when you're ready, there's a Leave Studio button on the bottom. When you click on that, it'll prompt you to go to an uploads page. Just leave it on that until it's done. And if by chance something goes awry, we'll send you a link afterwards. But that's just so that we have all the audio and video separate, because we do editing afterwards. And, you'll see this posted a couple different times. And, I'll probably take out some embarrassing clips and stuff and put them up.
I'll share it all over the place.
Oh yeah, we got you.
We love that.
Oh, we're gonna promote the hell out of it. So yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you again, man. Thank you so much. Good luck with everything you're working on.
Thank you. There's a bunch of new stuff coming that I can't talk about yet, but
we're ready.
I would love to be back on and talk about it.
Oh, absolutely. Awesome. We're ready. So thank you again. And
we'll look for Herculoids.
Yeah, Herculoids and Nera. Nera is coming in a month or so. So
I will book you for that. Yes.
Oh,
I'll get in touch with you tomorrow.
Vampirella Armageddon is my new Vampirella series.
Oh, okay.
That will be. I think it's in the next previews book. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We'll check it out.
All right. Thank you, guys.
So good to have you.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Hey, so